everybody. Sit back, relax, because it's gonna be a long one. So, I wanted to talk about a few things today, and this is like things that I've realized and all that kind of stuff since my last video. I'm kind of feeling like maybe I am regretting my decision for what I'm going to use as my 2020 bullet journal. So in my last video, let me try to get some of the dog hair off. I showed these two books, which are both from Archer and Olive, and both of them were kind of what I was going to use for 2020. However, I've had some thoughts. So we're going to go through, I'm going to show an unboxing of some other notebooks that I have received that I think may be a viable solution within this next year. I'm currently, the basic gist is I'm undecided whether I do want to stick to this book. And we're so close to the new year. I'm really honestly kind of just conflicted. But as far as this one goes, yes, this is Bay. We're doing this one. This one is going to be my tarot planner. I've had so much fun setting this one up. And just really quickly, let me go through and flip through what I've done for both of these. Now this one we're questioning. So I'll set that one to the side. This is what is going to be my 2020 tarot journal, moon journal, just kind of any kind of spirituality, faith-based information is going in this book. So on the first page, I've got my name written there, and then one of these gorgeous stickers from Lace and Whimsy. The next one, I did actually have a couple of pages in this notebook filled out. I can't remember if I showed that in my last video or not. Probably so. But I ended up ripping out a lot of those pages, and they were right here at the front, so I didn't want it to really mess with the signatures too much. So I glued down this gorgeous galaxy paper. It was from the scrapbook section at Hobby Lobby. And then I pasted it down, and I really wanted to have like a nice, beautiful holographic vinyl in the front. Not entirely sure why, but I thought it'd be a good start to this moon journal and everything like that. I have a journaling card from Star Seeds of Earth. Underneath, I've got my blessing to my book, and then just a sticker here, and then a little journaling sticker here. And on the next page, I have my 2020 moon phases. This list over here shows each of the phases, or what each moon is called. And I thought that would be just a really fun thing to add in there. Now, the more that I looked, I did do my research and made sure that I, looked at dates and everything. And I think some of them may be wrong. I don't know. Different websites can give you different results, but I'm not too terribly upset about it because they're all within a day. So I've got some boxes here that show each of the phases of the moon, all that good stuff. Here I've got my deck haves and wants, and I've got them separated with oracle decks and tarot decks. As you can see, I haven't added any oracle decks to the wants list, but I do have some wants for tarot decks. The next page is a tarot tracker. Something that I found kind of interesting just in the months that I've been doing this, and I really wish I would have thought to do this when I had my other journal, is to write down every day what cards I pull, because I began to notice a pattern of like a specific suit in the court cards that I would pull more frequently than others. And so I just kind of wanted to have that you know, write it down and everything. Y'all, it took me forever to figure out a system that would work because I have really large handwriting, and with a black book, you can't just go and highlight to color code, I guess. So I've chosen different pens that I'm going to use. So white pens are the major arcana, wands are purple or pink, swords are purple, blue are pentacles, and red are cups. So I've got everything set up from January to December. And I will likely add some washi or something to kind of jazz it up a little bit here. This is just an initial setup. I do intend on, you know, just continuing to add to it and everything. And that is all I have in here so far. I plan to just directly go in and start working on my dailies every day. So yeah, that is going to be my tarot journal. Next, I want to show the setup that I've got for this book because I think it's a really good explanation of why I'm really questioning using this notebook. So when I first got the other, which other one? I have another notebook that I filled up completely. The Archer and Olive A5, just regular white paper. I filled from cover to cover. It was the very first book that I've ever filled up completely, and I was super, super proud of that. However, I fell in love with the paper. I think I absolutely just fawned over the paper when I first tried it. Fell in love. And oddly enough, it's the paper that I'm kind of questioning because what happened was I was midway through completing that first journal, went ahead and ordered this one for a backup, and then the black books came out, and I was very close to finishing my first book, and I had this one and then the black book, and I was like, do I want to use the black book? So I ended up using it and just had this sitting on my shelf for a while. I knew I would eventually use it. But then after I finished, after the first black book kind of went womp womp on me and broke, I got another black book. And then since then I've just been in like this, I don't know, just not really knowing what I want to use. And here lately I've been using the Print Press in Weeks, and I really like it, but it's just my preference is A5. That is my planner piece. That's what I gravitate back towards. So if anything else that I have learned my size and what system works best for me, because I can change however many times I want to, but it's like the moment that I started bullet journaling and really getting into the flow of it and comfortable with it, it works for me. And I don't use it the way that most bullet journalers do. So that's kind of my long preface there, but y'all know how I am. So it's like the thing that I loved about this journal is the thing that's making me question whether I want to use this journal. And let me show you why. So I have very slowly set this journal up for 2020, put my name on the front. And it's like I was working a day at a time because I really wanted to just focus on what each page was going to do. I wanted to be really intentional with setting this up because I want to try some different things this year, like really using habit trackers and future logs and things like that. But, and I have tried them in the past, but they were kind of a fail for me. But I know that those are the kinds of things that I really need. So, I think they will be helpful. But anyway, I took some watercolor paper and painted the background here. Used a stamp and my word of the year is going to be focus because it's very hard for me to do so. Believe it or not, my brain is constantly going 90 to nothing. I have too many interests, and this is something that I just really need to focus on focusing. So yeah, anyway, this year I vow to focus. And then I've got this beautiful sticker with artwork from Her Name is Savvy. Here is my future log. These 2 pages were the absolute bane of my existence to put together, and I commend anybody who does this because I did not realize how frustrating putting something together like this is. So that's why it's a little bit more minimalistic, but it's got a few little touches here and there. This page is what I was most proud of. Look at this. So one thing that I really want to do this year is watercolor. I've gotten several watercolors. I really want to just focus on practicing with art just to see where I've been here today to where I'll be in a year, because I've really noticed a difference just in this past year, just looking back, how much my creativity has really expanded, and I love that. I think that that's a really amazing thing. So when ideas become reality, this was going to be like my brain dump page, but do you see it? Do you see it? Because I do, and it really bothers me. The Archer and Olive paper is a 160 GSM, which means it is thick, like thin cardstock, I would say. So you would think spreads like this, obviously you know what this is, you would think that it would be able to hold watercolor a bit better, and back when I did use watercolor in my first journal, I kind of cracked it up to, well, you're just now getting into it. You don't really know how to work with watercolor, but this is going to be a problem for me. And I was so proud of this spread, and just to have it ruined, it really bummed me out. But it also reminded me, oh yeah, these journals, as thick as the pages are, they really can't handle watercolor, and that really surprises me, and I'll explain why. This is my other baby that is probably going to be more of a, what is it called? It's not like a concept book, but it's basically like a little catch-all book, because I do have a few spreads in here that have some plans on them, but this book really has no focus to it. So here, this is my minimalism art soft cover notebook. I absolutely love these. These are some of the best, cheapest notebooks that I have ever used. Like, I'm honestly surprised at the quality of these notebooks and how much you pay for them, because there are so many notebooks out there that have much less quality to them, and they're so much more expensive. So remember, 160 GSM paper, 100 GSM paper. This paper is much thinner, but it can handle watercolor, and it handles it like a champ. Like you can see right here, there is no bleed through. The only kind of bleeding that you see or ghosting is from the pen that I wrote with. But as far as the watercolor goes, it did not bleed through. Plus, I kind of figured out what I really love about these notebooks, and it is their paper. Their paper is buttery smooth. Like, it is the smoothest paper I've ever written on. But yeah, here's a full watercolor spread. And then you don't see anything on the other side either. So I think that the thing that I love about this paper, like I said, is it's so smooth. It's a coated paper, and that was something that I really had to get used to with this journal, was the texture of the paper. It's really nice paper, don't get me wrong. It's great for people that, you know, want to have that nice, thick, luxurious paper. But I kind of don't like the texture that it has to it. I noticed that my pens feather a little bit more in this notebook. Now, once it's set, it's fine, but it's just that initial, I don't know, it's like, I feel like such a paper elitist. But anyway, so here was my YouTube ideas spread. Here's my goals spread. I wanted to keep it really simple, so I just put this beautiful sticker here. And then here was going to be my January cover page. And then kind of a this month overview. And then in the back, one tracker that I really enjoyed was the mail tracker. So I did create another mail tracker. And then I created a skincare routine just to kind of like, these 3 things here are what I've been using for years, so I know they work for me. I know I love them, but this is something that I'm just now trying. And then the blank part down here, I kind of want to test out new things because I am getting older and I've never really thought about using any kind of anti-aging products. So that's something that I really want to do some research on. And I know I should have started doing it when I was in my 20s, but it's just something that I never really thought of. So here, the idea is to put different skincare items in here, use them for an extended period of time, you know, at least a month, and just kind of really gauge whether I like them or not. So this was my full setup for this journal. Now, let's get to the unboxing, the fun stuff. So, I've been thinking about this notebook for the longest time. I've had a couple of minimalism art notebooks. I'm still filling one up right now with my tarot journal. But I really like these soft cover notebooks, but they didn't have the pink and they didn't have the black. So I was like, you know what? I really want to try the premium collection. So I ordered this one and then this Sekis. I don't know how you say it, but Sekis notebook. These are both on Amazon. I will leave links below. In no way is this video sponsored. I did purchase both of these with my own money. So I'll put this one to the side for right now. And I did do a little bit of cheating. I have already pre-done the pen test, but y'all, when I opened up this notebook, like, you can't really see how beautiful the color is until you see it in person. On the website, it looked very flat, and the elephant in the room, can we talk about the box? The box feels so luxurious. Now, yes, there's a couple of little marks here and there, but God, this box is so nice. Like, I feel like, and this notebook was under $20. I think I paid like $13.95 for it on Amazon. So it's a very cost-effective option, but it really does feel luxurious. So the dimensions of this one is an A5. It is 5 4/5 by 8 1/3. I do believe that this one is a little bit bigger than a natural, like a typical A5. So let's see, because I did notice it's either this one is bigger or the Sekis one is smaller, but I feel like this one's bigger. It is indeed bigger. So there is the size comparison. This is not a true A5. So with that in mind, I'm not sure if my, here's a better view. It's a little bit longer and a little bit wider than an actual A5, and you can tell it's thicker. So keep that in mind, especially if you are a person that likes to put your journals in any kind of a cover, like a leather cover, like this one. See, now I don't think that this journal will fit in this cover. So that's just something to think about. But one thing that I really like about this notebook that some people may not really like about it, it has no pen loop. I hate pen loops on any kind of journal. The journals that I use, like both of these Archer and Olives, I have cut the pen loops out of them. I hate pen loops. Don't know why. I just do. So that's kind of a personal preference to me. The elastic band, it's, to me, it's pretty typical. It's not just super substantial, but it will hold your notebook if it blooms some, which as you use it, of course it will. But I hope the camera can pick this up, but it's got this beautiful kind of a pearlescent finish to it. And it is a really beautiful leatherette feel to it. You get 2 bookmarks. This one in particular has got an ivory and then a blush pink with gold trim. When I pulled this out of the box, I was like, wow, this thing is thick. It's beautiful. So it's got 192 pages, and these pages are 120 GSM. So it's not as thick of a paper as the Archer and Olive, but it is a little bit thicker than these notebooks. And just for reference, I believe a Leuchtturm 1917 is 80 GSM paper, if I'm correct. I believe. Anyway, so when you open the notebook, you've got your cards here. This is, you know, your nameplate. Something that they have added to these premium notebooks. It's very nice ivory paper. Not as cream as some papers that are out there, but it's not white. So, like I said, something that is different about this notebook is the page index. You've got 2 of those, and then you go right into your dot pages. And I spent a lot of time rubbing this paper versus the one in the other notebook. And I can confirm that this one does have a coating to it, but it does have a slight texture to it. That was something that I scoured the internet to try to find an answer for. But I could not. Is it the same exact paper as what they use in the softcover journals? No. The paper is thicker, but it's not got as much of a texture as the Archer and Olive one does. And you also get numbered pages. Now, another thing that I saw in the reviews for this notebook was that the dots were a bit off on the pages. So I'm going to try and zoom y'all in just so you can see. All right. So we're going to, the dots on the pages are a bit off, and you'll kind of see as I flip. So if that is something that really concerns you, you may want to look for another type of journal, but something like that doesn't really bother me. But that's just something to note. There we go. So you've got 200, I'm sorry, that was a lie. You've got 234 120 GSM pages in this A5 size. So I went ahead and did a pen test on the back because I wasn't exactly sure. I've never written on this kind of paper, so I really wanted to see how it stood up against different pens that I use very frequently. I am a very boring person when it comes to pens, so more likely than not, it will be mostly black. Lately, I've been loving the Inkjoy 0.7s. So I took my old journal here that I'm very familiar with and just wrote with different pens that I typically use. And as always, there is some ghosting, but to me, it holds up very, very well to ghosting and bleed through. Much better, especially with watercolor. Much better than I thought it would. So, for reference, here is the pen test for this page. You can see a little bit of ghosting, but it's definitely not as apparent as in the 100 GSM paper. So there are side-by-sides here. So you can very much notice a difference. Very much so. But other than that, I think this one is an extremely good contender for use this year. This may actually be the journal that I start the year off with because, I don't know, like, the more I hold it, the more that I, you know, I'm kind of in love, y'all. I really am. I love the beautiful thickness of it. I'll probably end up cutting the ribbons off because I don't really use bookmarks in my journals either. But I just have a really big heart for minimalism art notebooks. Okay, I'm going to set this one off to the side and open the second one because this video is getting extremely long. So here is the Sekis notebook, and this one is from a company called Keyhang Stationery, I believe. So once again, you get this sent in a box, and unlike the other box, it is just a typical little cardboard box, but it's got a really nice feel to it. Looks pretty nice. The embossing here is a little bit raised, and I think it looks really clean and nice and minimalistic. I heard about these notebooks from Stationery Nerd, I believe. She did an excellent review of different 160 GSM notebooks. If you are interested in using notebooks with really thick paper, I would highly suggest, and I'll try and link her video down in the description box. But she did a full video review, pen tests, everything like that, and wrote about it in a blog, like a very extensive blog post reviewing several different notebooks with 160 GSM paper in them, because that seems to be kind of what everybody's really loving right now. This one has definitely got an Archer and Olive feel to it. So I'll put them side by side. They are the same dimensions. I gotta say, I love the cover of this one. I love the cover of this one, but this one, they have the same kind of a clothy feel to them. It's like a fabric, almost a cross weave texture. One huge difference is there's a little grommet here for the pin loop, which if I end up using this, y'all know is gonna go. Same kind of a elastic closure, and they actually have like the same snap to them. And then you've got 2 ribbon bookmarks in here. I think the color of this one is just gorgeous because it's a beautiful navy blue, but it's almost like a warm navy blue. And the cover options that they have, of course, they don't have as many options as Archer and Olive does, but I really love the constellation concept that they went with. So you open it up, you've got some tabs here that you can use in case of loss, and then you just go right into the notebook, which is something that I really love. I don't need the future log pre-printed for me. I don't need the index. I don't need a key page. I don't need a pen test page. I can create all that stuff on my own. To me, it just takes up more space in the journal because I do use this in a little bit of a different way. I don't use a key, and I don't need a bunch of pages for an index. I don't use index pages. So it is my personal preference to use a notebook like this that just goes right into the dots. Now, like the Archer and Olive, this one is a bright white paper. And if y'all notice my voice, like I'm a little bit stuffy. Now, this paper has a coating to it, and it feels much smoother just in comparison to the Archer and Olive. The Archer and Olive has a texture to it. This one doesn't have as much of a texture. Your pages are not numbered, but that's okay. It comes with 160 GSM pages, and then you get 2 ribbon bookmarks with it. And then, of course, on both of the journals, on all of these journals that I've talked about, you've got the gusset pocket in the back, which never gets used. But here, I did my pen test page. So I'm just going to compare it to the Minimalism Art Notebook because these are my 2 newest ones. I thought it worked really well. as far as like pens go, but I kind of expected that with this kind of a paper. So here, let me zoom in. Here, I don't even think you can see anything ghosting whatsoever. So for these particular pens that I used, it works incredibly well. If you are the type of person that hates ghosting, I think this would be a very viable option for you. And compared to the minimalism art. So whereas the minimalism art, you can see a little bit of ghosting here, but it's not just, it's not super stark in my opinion. Let me zoom y'all out just a little bit. There we go. So here you can really see a good representation of the colors of the pages. This one's very bright white and very cream. So it depends on what you find more aesthetically pleasing. Some people prefer to use a creamier page because it's a little bit easier on the eyes. Both of them have light gray dots, which I think is amazing because you can see your work, you can see to outline things, but it's not super distracting to the eye. That's something that I really do enjoy with notebooks. I don't like notebooks that have really dark dots, but yeah. So that's kind of how they ghost or don't ghost. So I think this one is a really good option if you want to try a 160 GSM notebook, but you don't want to spend the money like for an Archer and Olive, because the Archer and Olives are $35. And I cannot remember. I'll try to remember to notate somewhere right here a price for this notebook, but it is cheaper than Archer and Olive, and it's very much got a great feel to it. In the makeup community, I would 100% call this a dupe for the Archer and Olive notebook. I think it looks really classy. I think it's a beautiful notebook. It's very, it can be very minimalistic. It's not something that I think anybody would be embarrassed of if they were to take it to work or anything like that. I think it could be a very professional thing for work. I think it would make a great gift for any bullet journaler in your life. And I know that that's something that a lot of people really pay attention to. I think that's something that maybe planners, like really super bright patterned planners like Happy Planner, I've seen people comment and say that they feel a little bit uncomfortable breaking out that giant, you know, looks like a rainbow threw up on it notebook. But I think that this one you would definitely not be embarrassed to pull out and use. So anyway, that is my video. My voice is going, my nose is stuffed, but I just kind of wanted to have a planner heart to heart with you guys. If you suffered through this entire video, thank you so much. Let me know which notebook you think would be a good option. I'm really thinking about going with this one, but I will definitely use this one as well. So this one's definitely going to stay on the back burner. But yeah, be sure to check the description box. I will have links for all of the notebooks that I've talked about today down there and all that good stuff. And if you celebrate Christmas, I wish you and your family a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. I'm excited to see what 2020 has to offer. I hope you are too. Let's get it this year. It's a brand new decade. So yeah, thank you so much. And if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. If you would like to see future videos, please hit subscribe. I would love to have you over here. And other than that, I hope you have a great day. Bye, everybody.